Welcome once again back to the lab. It is your old Professor Pilkin. We need to talk about the latest Tera Raids. Well, actually, we need to talk about all the Tera Raids here. So, right now, in-game, if we go to the Poke Portal here, we do have the rerun of Typhlosion currently in operation. So, if you recollect back to what we talked about last week, yes, Annihilate is awesome. Annihilate absolutely wrecks this event out. In fact, there's Typhlosion right there. But you'll notice that there's a bunch of Blissies running. If you didn't catch the news earlier, we have a Blissey event currently in operation. There's 5-star Blissies dropping all over the place, a ton of different Tera types. Now, if I go back to my map here, I'll show you how to locate all of them. Because thankfully, and luckily, I don't know how this worked out, but all of mine are like in the same basic region. So if we go back to the map here, you'll see the really dark ghost type here. That actually is the Typhlosion raid. So I do have that available. We'll be able to go run that shortly. Unfortunately, you can't see it under this here, but this is a ground type raid. This one over here is poison, and then there's another ghost over here that's a little bit lighter. Any of these sparkling raids, these are going to be the Blissey raids. Now, you can catch as many of these as you desire, but I'll be honest with you, you only really need one. You can change the Tera types. In fact, for a lot of these guys, the Tera types probably aren't even going to be optimal, but the main thing you need to know is going into these Blissies are level 75, so your level 100s are going to absolutely put in work here. It's amazing. So, going specifically back to the ground type raid that I've got here, Blissey has 4 moves, 2 of which are healing moves. Blissey has Heal Pulse and Soft Boiled. Blissey is an heal maniac. It's actually kind of obscene, to be honest with you. But the other thing you want to consider here is that Blissey has 2 main attack moves. Seismic Toss, which is the main one. Seismic Toss is a fighting type move. And then, of course, that is also going to present its own issues, because once you have that fighting type move, you know immediately you know avoid bringing in normal types, ice types, rock, dark, and steel types. So just avoid those types at all possible, because those types are going to get absolutely decimated in here. But not only that, Blissey also has Last Resort. The good news is with the Last Resort, Blissey has to do all other moves first before Last Resort can go off. So odds are you're not going to really have to deal with Last Resort very much. Seismic Toss is about the main thing that you're really going to have to contend with. So just avoid that fighting type move. You should be pretty good. That means that if you're running a Blissey that's a fighting type, you really want to be careful of that, because that Blissey is the one that's really going to hurt damage-wise. But the other thing to consider with Blissey, when it comes to stats, Blissey is a little squishy. Attack and defense are terrible. Terrible. Blissey has 135 special defense and only 75 special attack, but both attack and physical defense are 10, base level 10. HP, on the other hand, is base level 255. So this is a really rotund mon that is going to take soak up a lot of damage. So if you're following along here, you really want to take in physical types to this. You want to bring in Pokemon that can do a lot of physical damage. Okay, so in this case, I've got my ground event here. Now, for ground, what I want to do is I really want to focus on either water, grass, or ice. But we already said ice is off the table. I'm going to go ahead and bring in a water type. I'm going to go ahead and change my Pokemon here. And I'll explain later on in a video next week why I have so many Typhlosions. But I'm going to go ahead and bring in my level 100 Gyarados. Level 100 Gyarados should be pretty good. Now, Gyarados does have a grass Tera type, so the Tera type is kind of working against me a little bit. I really wish I had the Tera Shards to fix that, but I don't at the moment. But I think we'll still be fine. The other thing to consider when it comes to the Gyarados here is I built this Gyarados. I've done some modifications to Gyarados to make this a little bit more comfy for me. So let's go change our Pokemon. We can't actually look here at his moveset, can we? No, it's not going to let us look at his... Oh, there it is. So the moveset I have on him is Waterfall, Dragon Dance, Chilling Water, and Rain Dance. So essentially, we're going to open up with Rain Dance. We're going to use Chilling Water to lower the attack stat. Then We're going to do Dragon Dance to increase our attack stat, and then just spam Waterfall. It's going to be, well, hopefully, it should be a pretty good event here. Now, the downside is I don't have Leftovers or Shell Bell on Gyarados. Shell Bell would be better because we are going to do so much buffing and debuffing that it is going to help. But the main takeaway here is when you're targeting these Pokemon, you want to target their Tera types. That's how Blissey's going to take damage, is targeting that Tera type. There's rare exceptions to that, but that's kind of the number one main takeaway. Now, the other thing to really take away from this, all those healing skills that we talked about earlier, those are the big ones. Those are the ones that are going to make all the difference in your other raids. That's why you really want Blissey to run support in your Tera raids, because Blissey is going to make sure that everybody else is just able to stay in the fight. So we're going to do Chilling Water here. Chilling Water will lower attack stat. I suspect if we do this about 3 times, we should be pretty good to go. Okay, we have another Seismic Toss, but hopefully we are able basically to just take Blissey down far enough that Blissey's not going to be able to do much for us, or much for herself. Okay, that was number 2. We're taking some damage, but we'll do one more Chilling Water here. Now you notice Chilling Water is actually still putting in damage, or putting in work as far as damage goes, despite the fact that it isn't predominantly a damaging move. Now that's nice. So Blissey actually gave us a heal, and that is one of the potential things that can happen here. We don't necessarily know that it's going to happen, but it is a distinct possibility. In fact, it happens shockingly often. I'm going to go ahead and buff myself up here. Okay, there we go. Blissey's going to go ahead and heal herself there. Thankfully, it's not an insane amount of healing, so it's not the end of the world. Okay, let's go ahead and buff ourselves up one more time. Blissey's probably going to do another soft, I'm going to guess. Oh no, there's Seismic Toss. Okay. There we go. So even without Leftovers Shell Bell, we're still pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and do one more buff here. Now, we can actually take a look at our buffs. And so my attack and speed are up 2. Blissey's attack is down 5, and defense is actually down as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do. Maybe one of my other units here is working on that. So let's go ahead and do another big buff, and then we're just going to use water moves to kind of finish this out. So the main takeaway here is to be aware of that Seismic Toss and to find ways to counteract that. There we go. Alright, so now we're just going to do Waterfall as much as possible. We're really, look at how much damage that did. Even without the Tera type, even without Terastallize, that absolutely. So there was Last Resort and it did nothing. Fantastic, let's keep going. Boom, look at that. So if you really build your Pokemon up, if you kind of know what you're doing here, and you play the game wise, bring in a physical attacker that targets the Tera type, and you'll be in level 100, you'll be able to absolutely knock this out of the park. Now I want to emphasize too, the one thing that really helped me here were all the buffs and debuffs that I was able to perform. There we are. Now I don't have any interest in catching this Blissey, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway, actually. I'm just going to put her in a regular Pokeball. Man, I just realized I did a combo breaker on the Pokeball. I didn't even have to go buy a new Pokeball now, apparently. It is a guaranteed catch, as are all Tera Raids. But the main takeaway here, guys, and this is super duper important, target the Tera type, but defensively consider the Seismic Toss attack. You really have to be cautious about that. Now, if Blissey doesn't start healing you at some point, you probably want to consider maybe putting on Leftovers, maybe putting on Shell Bell. But let's check out these. Wow, look at all the Tera Shards we got. 5 Ghost Tera Shards, 5 Fighting Tera Shards, Normal and Ground. That's a lot. Look at these XP candies. So you really do want to run this as much as humanly possible. I'm going to go find all the Blissey raids, and I'm just going to run these one after the other. But you need a level 100 Mon that specifically targets the Tera type, keeping in mind that the fighting skill is the main one that you're going to have to defend against. So long as you stay away from normal types, ice types, rock, dark, or steel, you should be really good to go. And if you are in a Tera raid that kind of prefers that, just do neutral damage and just basically buff yourself up. You should be fine. But level 100, target the Tera type, you should be good to go. If you have any questions, put them in the comments down below. As always, like, comment, and if you guys haven't already, make sure you subscribe, and I will catch you guys for more Pokemon Scarlet and Violet coming up very, very soon.